A strong ambition to contribute to society. Sakishi Toyoda, the founder of Toyota Industries Corporation, was born in 1867 in Yamaguchi-Mora, Fuchi no Kori, Totomi no Kuni, presently Kusai City, Shizuoka Prefecture. He was the first son of Aichi and A. Toyoda. Aichi was a farmer who also worked as a carpenter to support his family. He was a highly skilled carpenter that many relied on. Sakishi graduated from elementary school and began working as an assistant for his father in carpentry trade. Sakishi's birth and early upbringing coincided with that period in Japanese history when the shogunate was replaced by a new government under the Meiji Emperor. This period is generally regarded as the beginning of modern Japan. In the middle of social upheavals, the entire village where Sakishi lived was plagued with poverty. From the age of 14 or 15, Sakishi began to think about ways in which he could both be useful to the people around him and serve his country. On days when there was no carpentry, Sakishi would assiduously read newspapers and magazines. He brought the local youth together in an evening study group that promoted self-learning. However, he was unable to come up with ways to contribute to society. Sakishi turned 18 in 1885. He learned of the newly enacted Patent Monopoly Act. This he studied carefully and quickly became convinced that he had found his way forward. Then and there, he decided to tap into his own wisdom and devote his utmost efforts toward invention as a means of creating something new. Western civilization is based upon machinery. Machines are driven by steam. Steam-powered machinery requires coal, which is expensive. Some method must be contrived to replace steam as the motivate force. So thought Sakishi. Using trial and error methods, Sakishi experimented with various permanent and alternative energy sources. He was not successful. In this fashion, Sakishi continued to meditate. At some point, he became interested in the hand loom used by local farm families. Sakishi thought that if he could find a way to improve the efficiency of the hand loom, it would benefit many people. Sakishi set to work. Working in a barn, he built and destroyed a number of looms. Some people began to think of him as being a stranger. Immersed in his efforts, this didn't bother him at all. In 1890, Sakishi traveled to Ueno in Tokyo to visit the Third National Machinery Exposition. Many new machines of both Japanese and overseas manufacture were on display. Sakishi was deeply impressed. So much that he spent every day for the next month visiting the exposition, determined to understand how each of the machines worked. In the autumn of the same year, Sakishi's first successful invention was accomplished. It was known as the Toyota wooden hand loom. Sakishi received his first patent for that loom in 1891. He was 24 years old. Unlike previous looms, the Toyota wooden hand loom required only one hand to operate instead of two. It removed the unevenness of the woven fabric, thus improving quality. It increased efficiency by 40 to 50%. However, the loom was still manually powered. This limited further improvements in speed and overall efficiency. So, Sakishi turned his attention to the invention of a power loom. In 1892, Sakishi started a small factory in Tokyo's Taito ward. They used several of the Toyota wooden hand looms invented by Sakishi. He did his for several reasons. He wanted financial independence to better pursue his inventing career. He needed funds to support his efforts. He also thought that he would be able to confidently recommend his invention to customers by using it himself to confirm its superior performance. Fabrics manufactured by Sakishi's factory were distributed to wholesalers and enjoyed a good reputation. Sakishi managed the operation while continuing his inventing efforts. Unfortunately, the factory didn't do well and had to be shut down after a year of operation. Sakishi returned to his hometown. Soon afterwards, he went to visit an uncle living in the city of Toyohashi in Aichi Prefecture. He decided to live in his uncle's house and continue his efforts toward developing a power loom. To provide funds for his efforts, Sakishi invented the highly efficient Toyota winding machine in 1894. This was an epoch-making development. To promote the manufacture and sale of his new machine, Sakishi soon established Ito Shotenko, agent for Toyota, in Nagoya. This later became Toyota Shotenko, and then Toyota Shokai Co. Once sales of the winding machine were on track, Sakishi turned his undivided attention to inventing a power loom. It did not take him long. In 1896, the Toyota Power Loom, Japan's first power loom built of steel and wood, was perfect. The shedding, picking, and beat-up motions were all steam-powered. It was also equipped with the weft auto-stop mechanisms. The machine was relatively inexpensive and greatly increased productivity and quality. One of the first to recognize the outstanding performance of the new loom was a customer of Toyota Shotenko, named Tohachi Ishikawa. He proposed opening a weaving business. He and Sakishi were soon partners. They founded Okawa Mempo Co. in Aichi Prefecture's city of Handa. The high-quality cotton cloth woven by the new loom earned a reputation for excellence. Sakishi used not only the steam engine, but also an oil motor as a power source for his looms. The loom soon came to the attention of Mitsui Bussan, currently Mitsui & Co. Limited. In 1899, they proposed setting up a loom manufacturing company. Ageta Shokai Co. was established, and Sakishi overseeing the production of power looms as chief engineer and fully devoting his efforts to further invention. However, economic conditions were bad and the company fell on hard times, making further development more and more difficult. Sakishi ultimately left the company and opened the independently managed Toyota Shokai Co., where he dedicated himself to invention and research. Sakishi continued his efforts to improve his machines. Looms used a bobbin to hold the weft. When the weft ran out, the power loom had to be stopped in order to replenish it. It was clear that this downtime greatly decreased operational efficiency. Sakishi became focused on the task of inventing a device that could automatically replace the shuttle when the weft ran out. An unwavering conviction and commercial trials. In 1903, Sakishi invented the first automatic shuttle changing mechanism that automatically replenished the weft yarn without stopping machine operation, producing the world's first shuttle change automatic loom, Type T, equipped with this mechanism. Kengafuchi Boseki Co. attached this shuttle changing mechanism to its wide looms and undertook performance testing. The test results, however, were not so favorable because Sakishi had entrusted the building and pre-testing to others. Reflecting on this experience, he developed an unwavering conviction that a product should never be sold unless it has been carefully manufactured and fully tested in the commercial trial with completely satisfactory results. And it will be mentioned afterwards. Sakishi later traveled to the United States and Europe on an observation trip. He visited Dr. Jokiji Takamine at his home in New York. Dr. Takamine was world-renowned for having been the first person to successfully extract takadayastase and adrenaline. Dr. Takamine explained that an inventor should never put his or invention in the hands of others until it was developed as a practical product with useful social results, and that this was the responsibility of an inventor. Sakishi was inspired and took this advice to heart. In 1905, Sakishi invented the Toyota Power Loom 1905 type, equipped with the improved warp let-off mechanism. The loom also had a sturdy structure built of wood and steel. This was followed in 1906 by an improved version called the Toyota Power Loom 1906 type. In 1906 type greatly improved efficiency and fabric quality. In 1906, Sakishi also realized what he considered to be the other ultimate goal besides the invention of the automatic loom, inventing an energy-efficient circular loom that wove cloth through an optimal circular motion. Up until this time, looms use horizontal reciprocal motion to move the shuttle carrying a weft and weave. By contrast, the circular loom uses a circular motion to move the shuttle, and the weft insertion and beading were done quietly and uninterruptedly. This had never been done before. Overcoming setbacks. In 1907, on the recommendation of Mitsui Basen, Toyoda's Loom Works Limited, presently Hoa Machinery Limited, was established with funds provided by inventors in Tokyo, Osaka, and Nagoya. This newly established company took over control of the plant and employees of Toyota Shokai Co. Sakishi assumed the duties of managing director and chief engineer and continued to devote his efforts to invention and research. Nonetheless, because the new company didn't allow commercial trials for which Sakishi held such a strong conviction, he set up his own individually operated commercial trial plant, later Toyota Shokofo Kikoi Koja, in 1909. Toyota's Loom Works Limited was eventually visited by poor business results, causing Sakishi grave concern as he was the chief engineer handling invention and research and a director who couldn't neglect management of the company. In 1910, Sakishi resigned from Toyota's Loom Works Limited and set out on an observation trip to the United States and Europe to make a fresh start. Sakishi went to the west coast of the United States, from where he crossed the country. He visited many weaving factories and Upper East Coast region. While amazed at the scale of these operations and their experimental facilities, he saw many weaknesses in the looms operated there and was not very impressed. Sakishi then traveled to England, where he visited loom manufacturers and weaving mills in the Manchester area. This observation trip instilled him with confidence in the superiority of his original loom. He made his way back to Japan refreshed. A strong commitment to invention. After returning to Japan from his observation trip to the United States and Europe, Sakishi labored to raise capital. In 1911, established the independently operated Toyota Jido Shokofo Kojo Toyota Automatic Weaving Mill as a proving ground for his inventions in the Noritakishinmachi area of Nishi Ward, Nagoya. This is now the site of the Toyota Commemorative Museum of Industry and Technology. In 1914, Sakishi introduced new spinning facilities at the mill based on his realization that high-quality spinning yarn was essential for the successful development of this automatic loom. At this time, its name was revised to Toyota Jido Bashokokoja, Toyota Automatic Spinning and Weaving Mill, because the mill also started spinning operations. Benefiting from buoyant economic conditions during World War I, the spinning and weaving business continued expanding year after year. With the aim of carrying out smooth business operations under these favorable circumstances, in 1918, Toyota Boshoko Toyota Spinning and Weaving Co. Limited was established with investments from relatives and close friends. Sakishi became president, but the company was effectively managed by Risaburo Toyoda. the son-in-law of Sakishi, who held the position of managing director, taking on further challenges. In 1918, having made sure that Toyoda Boshoko was in good hands and running smoothly, Sakishi set off on a solo trip to China. He made a detailed study of the weaving industry in China, especially in Shanghai area, before returning to Japan. In 1919, he again traveled to Shanghai with the intention to live there almost permanently. He spent a year procuring a site to build a manufacturing facility. The completed plan was huge, covering approximately 33,000 square meters, 356,000 square feet. Sakishi ran the plant as a solo proprietorship for a year before recognizing it into Toyoda Boshoko Show, Toyoda Spinning and Weaving Works in 1921. He there committed himself to research aimed at completing the development of an automatic loom and circular loom. Sakishi reportedly proclaimed, "Open the window, there's a big world out there," to people around him who were apprehensive about undertaking business in Shanghai. While traveling back and forth between Shanghai and Nagoya, Sakishi worked with his son Kichiro Toyoda and subordinates to expand the first towards the completion of an automatic loom. Realizing the need for a test facility where a large number of the automatic looms were installed, Sakishi constructed Toyoda Boshoko Kariya Shikenkojo in 1923 in Kariya, Aichi Prefecture. In 1924, following a stream of important patents and new invention, and whilst conducting commercial trials, the non-stop shuttle change Toyota automatic loom Type G was completed. More than 3 years had passed since young Sakishi determined to devote his life to invention. The automatic shuttle changing mechanism fitted to this loom enabled automatic shuttle replacement and supplying weft yarn without any loss of speed during high-speed operation. Other features included the shuttle change guide, weft brake auto stop, warp brake auto stop, and other devices to provide automation, protection, health, and safety. This loom delivered the world's top performance in terms of productivity and textile quality. An engineer from Platt Brothers and Co. Limited of England, none of the world's leading manufacturers of textile machinery at the time, admiringly referred to this loom as the magic loom. The invention and perfection of his automatic loom, however, didn't diminish Sakishi's passion for invention, as the completion of a circular loom continued to be his lifelong pursuit. Toyota Automatic Loom Works Limited sets sail. Following the successful development of the automatic loom, on November 17, 1926, the incorporation meeting of Toyota Automatic Loom Works Limited, now Toyota Industries Corporation, was held at the head office of Toyota Boshoko in Nagaya City. Toyota Automatic Loom Works establishment was officially registered the following day on November 18. Risaburo Toyoda, Sakishi's son-in-law, was named president. Kichiro Toyoda was managing director. As stated in Toyota Automatic Loom Works articles of incorporation, in addition to the manufacture and marketing of spinning and weaving machinery, a major objective of the company shall be pursuing related invention and research. This was an unprecedented concept that originated from the experiences of Sakishi. The Type G automatic loom soon became well known not only in Japan but in the world. Focusing its attention on the excellence of the Type G automatic loom, Platt Brothers and Co. Limited, a world-leading textile machinery manufacturer based in England, proposed a patent rights transfer. In 1929, Toyota Automatic Loom Works concluded a patent rights transfer agreement with Platt Brothers that provided production and marketing rights of the Type G automatic loom in countries except Japan, China, and the United States. The worldwide recognition of a Japanese invention and the request from a foreign company for a patent rights transfer were a truly noteworthy event in the technological history of Japan and instilled confidence in many Japanese. Sakishi Toyoda passed away in October 1930, having devoted his 63 years to invention. To commemorate the company founder, who was the spiritual support of the Toyota companies, a monument was constructed on the first anniversary of his passing, and a bust of Sakishi was erected on the 5th anniversary. In 1935, there were 8 Toyota companies and more than 13,000 workers. To express our corporate philosophy and thoroughly impress this upon all employees, the top management of Toyota companies assembled the Toyota Precepts to clearly crystallize the spirit of Sakishi Toyoda.